Well, heidi ho, neighbor. Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Airazor. So as we always do, let's go ahead and move her out of the way, and we'll bring that packaging in for a nice close look. Right up there at the top, you have Airazor. Down here at the bottom, you have Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron. Transformers up the side. You get that nice Kingdom artwork on the side. On the back, you get the product shots. And you get all your warnings down here. Always good to see the sad baby. And she is a deluxe class. And we'll take a moment here and admire that artwork. Again, very nice, as they always do in this Kingdom packaging. And up here at the top, you have Transformers War for Cybertron K14. On the bottom, you have manufacturing information. And that is it for the outside of the packaging. So let's go ahead and take a look at what came in there. First thing we'll do is we'll start with the insert. So this is the standard golden disc insert that you get with most of the Kingdom figures. Not a whole lot to see here, just some nice graphics, I suppose. All right, next thing you get is the ever popular sheet of warnings. Yay. And you get a card. This time around, I got an Optimus Prime, so I think I'm up to maybe 4 on Optimus now. But, you know, it's always good to have backups. And you get the instructions. All right, so now for Airazor, she only comes with 2 accessories, and we'll take a look at those now. She has these little missile pods. She just come with 2 of them. They're identical, so we'll just use one and get a close-up here as best we can. So, painted gold. Good amount of detailing on there. Not much else to say about them. But they do look really good on her. I'll say that. So these accessories fit her well. Alright, so let's go ahead and we will bring Airazor in for her close-up. And we'll get a look at that beautiful face right there. I think that looks amazing. The paint on this, the sculpting, really, really cool look. And you, of course, you have that hawk look on the side there and the feathered look going back. And come down, you can see the hawk chest. And then nice detailing on the waist and the crotch and the upper legs. And all the way through. I've said this on almost all of my reviews, but particularly for the Kingdom figures, the amount of molded in detail that they put in these figures is really appreciated. It really helps the figure pop. And then, of course, you have the little bird feet down here. So, robot mode, this is the front. Bird mode, these are the front. And come up here and take a look at those fists. And the forearms. She has nice detailing there. I'm going to lift my shoulder pads up here so you can see a little bit more under there. So even under the shoulder pads, good amount of detail. And then, of course, you have this feather texture right there. And on the back, of course, she has wings. She's a bird, so no surprise there. And there she is from the top. And even all through here. A couple of hollow areas right here, but they're not that bad. You still have this rib right there in between with some detail on it that helps that pop. And then you do have a couple of effects ports right there. So overall, I think she looks really good. This is a neat little figure. So now we'll get into the articulation of the figure. So let's bring her back in. And for the head is on a ball joint, so you do get side to side, you do get up and down, and you do get the ability to go all the way around for that head. For the shoulders, you do have these. If you want to call it articulation, you do have these shoulder pads that if you want to leave them down, you can do that, or if the default position is up. So give her that nice 1980s ladies business suit, big shoulder look. And the shoulders will come out that far. And keeping in mind that you need to clear the wing, you can do a full 360 here. So you can go all the way around. Good posability. At the elbow, you get just over 90. and you get bicep rotation as far as you want to go. At the wrists, this is primarily due for transformation, but you can also use this for the posing. You do get a wrist swivel right there, so you can get a 90-degree wrist bend if you want to take advantage of that. And then here at the waist, you do get waist rotation. And maybe my favorite part of her articulation. Are you guys ready for this? This is just awesome. Check this out. It is easily the best Van Damme in the Kingdom line. I mean, look at that. That is, yeah, and actually she can even go just a tick farther. This is just great. You want to talk about some flexibility. Look at that. I love it. All right, so she can kick forward really as far as you want to go, because she could go all the way around technically, but she can kick forward about that far before you have to start kicking that leg out. And backward, she can kick a little bit before you run into the tail feather, but you could disconnect this tail feather and you could get a little bit more backwards movement if you want to. And you don't get anything at the thigh, but you do get knee rotation. So this is used for transformation, but of course it can also be used for posing. And then you have right here another transformation joint. So if you wanted to put her in a bit of a Starscream style stance in robot mode, you certainly could do so. And then at the feet, they're on a ball joint, so you can go all the way around and you can get some pretty good tilt out of those feet. So overall, very good articulation on her. You can get her in some great poses. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about transformation, and we'll take her to her bird mode. So back here, the wings, you have just a tab and a slot system right there, and then these wings are on these double hinges. So to start with, you can just undo the tabs and then straighten these wings out on their double hinges, so you have those ready. And then what I like to do is I like to come down here and go ahead and prep the entire lower body. So I'm going to rotate. This is a whole lot of 180-degree rotation going on down here. So I'm going to rotate this waist 180 degrees, and then each of these legs, or at the knees, will go 180, and the feet will go 180. So you've got a whole lot of spinning happening with Airazor down here in the lower body, and you have the legs at this point pretty much prepped and ready to go for bird mode. So now it's not bad, but this is definitely my least favorite part of the transformation. You have this little flap back here that just opens up, and then you have these tabs and a couple slots back here, but then you have a double hinge mechanism for the chest. And what you're wanting to do here is you're wanting to open that up, and then you want to actually slide the chest up and then back, so you have something that looks like that. And you can see a little bit of that double hinge in there, and then you can see it right there. And you'll notice back here you have two sets of the slots, and for the bird mode you're going to utilize the bottom set of slots. So just keep that in mind, but don't close this up yet, because the next step, you need to get enough clearance that you can tuck the head away, and you're going to rotate the two heads 180 degrees. So you're going to tuck the head away, the robot head away in there, and you're going to bring the bird head up. All right, so now if you bring the bird head all the way back, you'll see this slot there and that tab there, and then of course these two. And what you're looking to do is line all that up. What you can do at this point is right here under the tail, you have a tab and a slot. You're just going to line those up, give it the old squeeze, and pat that down. Now you have this gap in this area, and you'll notice that you have this just open cavity right here with this little slot. This is where you're going to tuck the hands away. So what you're going to do for the arms, you're going to rotate the arms at the bicep so the effects port is facing toward you, and then you're going to utilize this wrist bend, and you're going to give her that kind of orientation. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tuck the hand. You notice the hand has this little tab right there. You're going to tuck the hand right into that slot. So you're just going to line those arms up and tuck it in and squeeze everything together so you have an arm that looks like that. Same thing on the other side. And bring that down. Find that cavity, push all that in, squeeze it together, push these shoulder pads down, and now you should have something that looks about like that. All right, so now you're going to take these legs, which you've already transformed, and you're going to bring them forward. Open that thigh up a little bit, and you'll see this. You have this cavity right there, that slot, and it's going to slide right into that tab. So bend your knee down a little bit because you're going to need to get this out of your way. Bring this over, and then you're going to line those two up, give it a little bit of a push, and click it right in, and do the same thing on the other side here. Give it a little bit of a push, and there you go. And now you're really down to just manipulating the bird legs where you want to see them, and the bird wings. Of course, you want to spread these wings out. And before we put accessories on, her accessories, there you have Airazor in her bird mode. And this is a cool looking hawk going on right there, and I like what they've done with the transformation to tuck everything away. Yeah, you do get a little bit of a booty, but it's not that bad, particularly when you put the accessories on, which we'll go ahead and we'll do that right now. So you take these missile pods and you just push them into those ports right there on either side, and you get her all armored up, and I think that adds to the look. I think that makes it look really good. So you still have that booty, but it's not too bad of a booty. And then, of course, because you have the ability to manipulate those feet, you can put them about where you want. And I have noticed that I have a little bit of difficulty keeping her standing upright unless I lean her back a little bit on those legs. There we go. But yeah, there you have Airazor in her really, really, really cool looking hawk mode. So I like it. I like that a lot. Now, let's talk about the details a little bit. We'll bring her in for a close-up so you can see that little bird face. And come along to the side here, look underneath. You get those big old bird feet down there, those toes. And even from the front, she doesn't look bad. Yes, this is kind of an open area. You know, you could do that if you were going to do like a head-on front look, but I still think that it looks better. Ooh, coming at you. Looks better like this. And even with the wings, underside, all kinds of detail there. So overall, yeah, I think she looks great. Now, articulation-wise, we'll start with the head here. This is actually very enjoyable. You do get some up and down on the head, so she could be flying around looking down, and she could turn her head and give you a little bit of a quizzical look, so that head will go all the way around. If you want to, I don't know, play the Exorcist with her, you could do that. And then you even have this opening beak. Now, it could be difficult. It's really difficult to get a fingernail in there, but they do have this little divot right there, so you could just push down with your fingernail, and that allows you to open that beak up, so that makes life a lot easier. And then for the wings, you have, gosh, all kinds of articulation in the wings here. They can go up that far, they can go down that far, and then of course because of that double hinge, you can get even more. So you could wrap them around in a defensive pose, I guess, if you wanted to, and then of course you could angle these the way you want. So if she's doing a dive bomb kind of thing, you could get that action going on. So that's really cool. And for the legs, it's real similar to robot mode, other than just being tucked away. So you have the ability to, if you want to give her, I don't know, a look like this, like she's swooping down to catch something, you could do that. And, you know, if you have one of these, you could, I've found the best way is just tuck it into that under that tail feather section right there. So you could do something like this. Oh, don't fall. There we go. So you could do something like that. So that's always a cool pose. All right, so yeah, all kinds of articulation down here. Now, for effects in this mode, she's really limited. Well, overall, she's really limited in effects anyway, but I tell you, she's got it where it counts. Look at these two back here. This is great. Check this out. So you can load her up and give her some sweet rocket hawk action. Of course, you probably ought to angle those correctly. So you get something like this going on. Oh yeah, that's cool. So you can do something like that. That's great. All right, so that's pretty much it for the effects. Now what we'll do is we'll bring in some comparisons. So I'm going to do my best to get her arranged here. I'm going to keep her wings tucked in because I do have a couple of oversized comparisons that I want to use. So let's bring her, put her about right there. And the first one that we'll bring in is just another big old bird. We'll bring in Skylynx from Earthrise. So you can see a comparison between her and Skylynx. All right, move him on out of the way. And next we'll bring in from the Transformers of the Last Night, we'll bring in Dragonstorm. So you can see how she looks next to another winged creature. All right. Next, we will bring in, again from the Bayverse, we'll bring in the Dark of the Moon. Ah, he's going down. Dark of the Moon Laserbeak. He's a little fiddly on me. There she is next to Laserbeak. And then we'll bring in G1 Buzzsaw. So you can see how she looks next to a G1 bird. All right, and the last couple we'll do will just be some kingdom comparisons here, so you can see how she stacks up. And so we'll bring in Cheetor, so you can see her next to Cheetor. See how those two look together. Bring them in a little bit closer. And just for fun, I'll just throw her in the middle. I'll put Cheetor here. And then we'll bring in the Fossilizer, Paleotrex. So you can see how she looks next to Paleotrex. All right, and last but certainly not least, we'll bring in Warpath, just so you can see her next to a Kingdom vehicle for a size comparison. All right, so let's go ahead and we will bring Miss Airazor back to her robot mode, and we'll do some effects and comparison there. So what you want to do for the transformation is, if you have these on, go ahead and take them off. That way they're just out of your way. And they do fit in nice and snug. I'll give them that. And then you're going to want to disconnect those legs right up there in those tabs. So just kind of pull that out a little bit and then bring that leg down. And do the same thing on the other side. And while I'm down here working on the legs, I'm just going to go ahead and finish them off. So it helps if you disconnect this tail feather just to get it out of your way. Then you can rotate that waist 180, rotate these knees 180, and rotate those feet 180. And your legs are done. All right, so next step, take these arms and just go ahead and pull those out of those cavities. And if you want, you can straighten those wrists out now. And pull those arms out so they're in the right orientation. And you should be left with something like that. So the next step is to come up here. This is where you're going to want to push down on the bird head a little bit, and you're going to disconnect the head from this tab. And once you do that, that allows you to get a finger in there and lift this up. So now this is just rocking. And again, going to my least favorite part of the transformation, pull that down so you have clearance, bring the robot head up, and then once you do, make sure your bird head isn't tucked away and make sure he's sticking out a little bit, because there is a tab right there that will fit on the underside of the bird head. So now you're going to do your best to manipulate that double hinge without spinning all this around, because that's the challenge, is I want to put my fingers right here, but that's a separate point of rotation from the double hinge, so you have to kind of grab the wings. And sorry guys if it doesn't look like the prettiest thing, but you want to push that down on the double hinge, and then once you get that down, then you can use your little bird head here and push that in and lock that into that slot that I just showed you. And then back here, you're going to utilize the top slot and just push that in. And you can push your tail feather back in as well, help lock the body into position. And now for the wings, last step, you're just going to bring the wings like this. You have that little tab right there, it goes into that slot right there, so swing that around. Bend your wings right there on both sides, and then tuck the outer wings in and compact them up, and there you have yourself a nice little compacted feathered winged backpack, and you have Airazor back in her robot mode. And flip those shoulder pads up. So there you go. Not the world's worst transformation. It's a little fiddly down there for that double hinge to raise and lower that chest area, but for the most part it's really not that bad. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and we'll arm her up. So we'll take her missile pods and put those right in the forearms. Do that on both sides. And there you have her with her missile pods on. I just really like the way that this figure looks. I enjoy her very much. So now for effects in this mode, again, she's limited. You have some, but she's limited. So you do have these ports right here that you were utilizing for the missile pods earlier. You could plug an effect in right there. And my favorite for robot mode, you do have these two ports down here. So if you want to get some sweet rocketing Airazor action, you could put a couple of effects there, and you can utilize that bend so you can give her this kind of a flying look and give her some nice flying action right there. So it's really up to you, whatever you want to do on that. But that's pretty much it for the effects in the robot mode. She doesn't have a lot. She has enough to make her fun. All right, so let's get her straightened out again. And now we'll do some comparisons in robot mode. And we'll wrap this thing up. So we'll bring in, let's see, who I want to start with first. Again, this was just for fun. This is a winged creature in robot mode. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit him all the way in, so I'll start in the back. But Transformers Prime Predaking. So you can see her next to Predaking back there. He's a big boy. Alright, let's move him on out of the way. And we'll bring in Cyclonus. So you can see her next to Mr. Cyclonus. And move him on out of the way. And we'll bring in, let's see, the Universal Scale, as I call him, the Kingdom and or Earthrise Optimus Prime. So you can see how she stacks up next to Prime. And then we'll bring in some more of the Kingdom Beast family in the robot modes here. So we'll bring in Dinobot. We'll bring in Optimus Primal. We'll bring in Barney. We'll bring in Black Arachnia. Let's see, let's put her over there. And we'll bring in Core Class Rat Trap, put him right in front. And last but certainly not least, we'll bring in the Wavemate, Mr. Huffer himself. So there you go with some Kingdom comparisons. You can get an idea how she scales. So now what we'll do is we'll get these guys out of the way, and we will talk about some final thoughts on Miss Airazor. So my final thoughts regarding Airazor. When it was announced that Beast Wars was going to be a part of the War for Cybertron trilogy, I was not very excited. The Beast Wars line wasn't something that I collected when I was younger. I stuck mostly to the robots turning into mechanical things, trucks, jets, that kind of stuff. And the animal portion never really excited me all that much. So I was pretty reluctant going in, wondering whether or not I was going to be excited about this toy line. But I have to say that with every release that comes out, I'm more excited about the Beast Wars Kingdom line. Airazor is a great example of a figure done right. She looks good in her robot mode. She looks good in her bird mode. She has great posability. The attention to detail is second to none for a figure this price. This is a $20 US figure. I just don't see any downside to adding her to the collection. There's so much fun to be had with her, and the imaginative play that you can have with Airazor, with Cheetor, with Black Arachnia, with the Beast Megatron, with all these guys in their beast modes. I admit I underestimated all that, and I guess I apologize, because these are great figures, and they are a great line of toys. So with that being said, I do highly recommend picking up Airazor if you can find her. I think she is a worthy addition, and I don't think you'll regret picking her up. Obviously, retail is the right price, but if you have to go online and pay a little bit more, I think that's all right. I'll say this, she is not a $50 US figure. At that point, you're getting into some scalper range that is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not even saying people are charging that much. I'm just saying that I think probably 35, 40 US dollars is probably my cutoff personally for what I would pay for this figure. But if you can find her in stores, she's showing up in Target, I'm sure she'll be at some of the other retail outlets soon, then she's a fun figure and you won't regret getting her. She is a great addition to the collection. So with that, I'll wrap the review up. I'll end by saying, as I always do, thanks to those who have subscribed. Thank you for watching. We are on YouTube, we are on Rumble, we are on Facebook. We're going to start making a presence here on Twitch, so no matter where you're watching us, be sure to give us a like, give us a rumble, hit that subscribe button, leave us some comments. We really enjoy reading the comments, and anything that you can do, any suggestion that you can give only makes the channel better, so we can bring higher quality videos to you. So you're as much a part of this as we are. And I can't say thank you enough for all the positive things that have been happening for this channel lately. So I'll stop talking now. Just want to say thanks again to everybody. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.